Hi, it's so great to be here. First of all, it's an honor. So many of the speakers that you've seen today are heroes and people that I've looked up to for so long, and seeing them all kind of one after another, and then new emerging amazing voices like Christy. This is a solid group of amazing change makers, so it's an honor to be here, and Amy too. So I have a lot to get us through, and I'm going to try to make what I have to share with you that is very much based in science, not boring. So I'm going to give me some, be patient. I'm going to walk you through this and try to make it as compelling as possible. And the goal here is for you to walk away with the clarity and the confidence, knowing that as scary as this moment is, the solutions exist. And I know it feels overwhelming, especially this year, to think about how we're going to deploy them, but this is not the moment to back off. This is really the moment to lean in. Just to set the stage, and many of you already know this, but we are at 1.3 degrees C global average temperature rise right now. Based on a series of UN reports, we know that 1.5 C is a really critical limit, that we need to be doing everything in our power to meet. Right now, there's a lot of evidence that we're going to be surpassing this. But what I have to show you, and some of the additional science to back it up, is that we can actually reach this goal even if we have to overshoot it and come back. It makes the solutions that I have to share even more relevant and important. So the question that we have been seeking to answer for over a decade at One Earth, and this originated at the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, was, can we solve the twin crises of climate change and biodiversity loss? Until recently, there were no scientific models that showed how we could actually achieve this with existing solutions. So in 2017, In 2017, we kicked off our research effort, working with over 50 leading scientists and experts across an array of disciplines to answer different aspects of this question. This resulted in our first major scientific product, the One Earth Climate Model, led by Aerospace Center, DLR, and the University of Technology, Sydney. The model was originally published in 2019 by Springer Nature in a very dense scientific text called Achieving the Paris Climate Goals. It's 500 pages, so the answer to our question is certainly complicated. But I can give you the short answer. Yes, it's still possible to reach these critical climate goals with existing solutions. It won't be easy, but it's possible. Until recently, sorry, I didn't mean to go forward quite yet. Until recently, or more recently, there was a second version of the climate model that came out in a couple years ago for the financial sector to show how we can achieve these goals. And then again, this year, we'll be releasing an update to the climate model, which shows how even if we are likely to surpass the 1.5 degrees C goal by 2030, we can actually bring it back and we can restore our climate. What you're looking at here is a synthesis of all of that science into 3 core solutions pillars. And these are the 3 core things that we need to do in order to solve this, to solve the twin crises. We need to transition to 100% clean, renewable energy for all. At the center of this, and the center of the conversation today, we need to protect, connect, and restore 50% of the world's lands and oceans. Roughly 50%. And lastly, we need to shift our food and our fiber systems to regenerative agriculture. Over the past several years, we continued to refine this science and many other pieces of science that we've been involved in and partnered on to create a framework around this that is truly actionable. And that's what you're looking at right here. So up at the top, and don't feel overwhelmed by this, all of this information is on our website. We are really committed to making this accessible to everybody. So what you're looking at here is essentially the 3 core pillars that I just walked you through. Then there's 76 specific solutions, all those colored boxes organized by the 3 pillars. I refer to those as the what. This is what we need to invest in, support, and scale. These are the solutions that we really need to put our efforts behind. Then down at the bottom, and this is really what makes this framework come to life, is levers of change and intersectional themes. Levers of change represent all the ways in which we have to drive change. We are never going to get there by just investing in top-down international policy efforts. Efforts have to be invested in on the ground game, community action, efforts at the city level, the state level, efforts around education and arts, legal empowerment, science and technology. All these different levers matter. Intersectional themes think of that as a lens through which you can look at how we want to drive change. We are calling out things like gender equity, social justice, sustainable livelihoods, youth leadership. There are folks that want to lean in and just lean in from a youth leadership perspective or a gender equity lens. All those efforts are relevant in this moment. So just to call out a few things that make this framework especially unique. There's a couple of other frameworks out there, and this is a good thing. We need multiple frameworks. They speak to different people. This one is really special. It's special because it is the only solutions framework out there that is backed by a global climate model that shows how we achieve those critical climate goals. It's also the only one out there that went to great lengths to center both nature and equity in the scientific modeling. On top of that, the 3 pillars, what we have found is that many different folks that are working across climate find the 3 pillars really accessible. It is an easy way to draw them in, even though the issue around climate is incredibly interconnected and complex. It makes it feel doable and empowering. I want to quickly call out some of the solutions that we consider false solutions that were explicitly not included in this framework. What we ended up uncovering when we went through the climate modeling process was that a number of the leading climate models that folks were relying on incorporated emissions reductions through what we consider false problematic solutions, things like carbon capture and storage, BECCS, geoengineering, things that are incredibly energy intensive, they're unproven, unscalable, and not only that, worse, they are actually undermining to both ecosystems and communities. So we explicitly left them out so that we could see a pragmatic roadmap that really centered both nature and equity. So most importantly, and what I am going to lead into this next section around, is that we have the solutions that we need right now. I'm going to really quickly walk you through some explicit kind of details around each of the 3 pillars, because I want to get to a new tool that we are launching shortly. The energy transition. Really, the way that this model was done is it was designed by engineers. So this is an incredibly pragmatic approach to the energy transition. So you can see that we've laid out the 4 sub-pillars. The transition through renewable power, renewable transport, renewable heat, and energy efficiency. And here you can see a much more detailed example of this. If you go on our website, not only are there really compelling images and definitions of all these solutions pathways, but you can also explore the people that are implementing these solutions. You can explore organizations, you can explore companies. It really brings to life the solution sets that we need now and how concertedly together they kind of represent this mosaic of solutions that we need to implement. Moving on to nature conservation, this required an entirely new scientific model. And it's something that we have been working on since about 2017. It's called the global safety net. So our question was, if we know that nature plays a central role in solving the climate crisis, what is the blueprint? How much of nature do we need to protect, connect, and restore? And we also wanted to know, what is the role of biodiversity in solving the climate crisis? How relevant is the protection of tigers and wolves and tapirs and the incredible array of different ecosystems? So all of that work was an incredible collaborative experience with leading biodiversity and conservation experts that led to the global safety net. What the global safety net ended up showing us is that blueprint and the metrics, the goals that we need to be achieving around nature conservation. We know that we need to protect, connect, and restore roughly 50% globally, but it's totally different in every region, country, and state, depending on the context of that place. and what has already been degraded, where are there opportunities for restoration, where is the densest biodiversity, and where is the most carbon storage. So it really matters to pay attention to context and place. I'm going to speed right through this because I got to get to a new tool I want to show to you all, but you can explore the Global Safety Net tool, which is showcased here. Not only does it show you the science, but it also is a mapping tool. So it allows you to explore your region and your place and how much of nature we need to be aspiring to protect, connect, and restore. So moving along, regenerative agriculture, just a few things to say on this. We know that there's this blueprint of nature we need to protect, connect, and restore. The only way to achieve that is to ensure that we produce enough food for a growing global population on our existing agricultural footprint, and doing that in ways that is conducive to biodiversity and human health. So this is one of the most exciting pillars and has the most traction for really incredible sets of solutions. And to Christy's point earlier, an incredible suite of jobs that really connect people to land and stewardship and biodiversity. That was a new piece of the work that came in through the science that was really just kind of lit everything up. I don't have time to walk you through all of this, so I'm going to move you on to just a really quick snapshot of a tool that we have that we've been building for the past 2 years that is coming out in the fall. And we have done this through an incredible partnership with a company called Vibrant Data Labs. Vibrant Data Labs is a social mission data science company, and they have produced something I will move us forward, called the Climate Finance Tracker. And this is an online accessible tool that tracks about $370 billion worth of private capital, investment capital, and nonprofit donations. When we became friends with them and started collaborating and partnering, we started thinking, well, hey, this would be really interesting. This is an incredible opportunity to showcase, if we bring in our solution set on top of this and go through a methodology of mapping where money is going, and more importantly, where money is not going, we're going to get a really clear sense of what the gaps and opportunities across private finance are. We're not going to have time to jump into as many of the initial insights as I wanted to share with you all, but I can give you some of the top line summaries across the 3 pillars. But really, the juicy details and stories are embedded when you really look into the data. But don't worry, all of that's coming out in the fall, so you'll have a chance to really dive into this. This is a real quick snapshot across the 3 pillars of the results of this work together. And what you can really clearly see is that the transition to renewable energy is very well financed. It is well on its way, and there's a good reason for that. Renewable energy is something that is market-based. People are making money off of it. It's well on its way. But what you can really see is these incredible gaps around nature conservation and even regenerative agriculture. So it's very clear that if we want to get these goals done, we're going to have to think much more strategically about how we're going to deploy capital. I'll go through this really quickly and just show you, this is how detailed the data is going to get. And the example that I wanted to share with you all, and it's too much to take in just a couple of minutes, so when we release everything, just get on our email list and I'll make sure that it's sent to you. But what's really interesting is that when you look at a holistic set of solutions that have to occur in one of those pillars, and you start to go into the details of the specific solution pathways and where money is flowing and where it's not, and where for-profit funding is flowing and where nonprofit funding is flowing, you start to see how we could really change the game if we were much more both thoughtful and collaborative about how funding is flowing. So one of the snapshots that I'm just showcasing right here is just how much money is going into plant-based proteins and in the regenerative agriculture pillar, as well as things like crop optimization and agritecture. But almost nothing is going into supporting farmers in shifting to methodologies for, actually restoring working lands so that they are free from, industrial scale agriculture and inputs that are based on fossil fuels. So really what you're looking at is a snapshot of data that is showing you that right now, when you're drinking your oat milk, most of that oat milk has been powered by and grown by fossil fuels. So we need to be thinking far more holistically and collaboratively about how we're going to deploy capital in this moment. And here, I will just end with this. So you can go to our website and give us your email so that we can reach out to you. This fall, we'll be launching the One Earth Climate Solutions Finance Tracker. We're also going to be launching an interactive, story-driven report that really showcases this data and tells the story of the gaps and the opportunities and amazing companies and nonprofits that are powering those solutions. This is just the beginning of One Earth's journey, so we'd be honored to have all of you come and join us on this. And I know there's some incredible folks working in finance in this room. So this is just going to be the beginning of how we can be highly strategic and collaborative in this moment to really change the game. Thank you so much.